So we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Stephanie Pedrosa, Senior Marketing Manager at Origo Software Technologies. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today in the last webinar we'll be hosting this year. We have been hosting educational webinars for over a year now, and we want to thank you all for your continued support, and we hope to see you in next year's webinar series. A little bit about Origo. We've been helping capital owners manage their infrastructure programs for almost 2 decades now. And in today's webinar, we will discuss a topic that's affecting a lot of agencies all over our country. As workloads continue to increase, many agencies are struggling to reallocate resources, and industry leaders will share best practices on how they're delivering capital programs and work efficiently with the limited resources that they have. A few quick notes before we get started. This webinar will be recorded, and we will provide all registered participants with the recording. The slides will also be provided to all registered participants. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please submit them via the Q&A chat box, and we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. If we don't get to all questions during the available time, we will follow up with you via email. And joining me today is my colleague and Marketing Director, Richard Kramer, who will be moderating today's webinar. Hello, Richard.
Afternoon, Stephanie. Great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. And before we get started, we're going to launch, or actually, no, sorry. So now I'm going to introduce our panel of experts. So joining us today, we have Brenda Williams. And hold on just a second, because I just lost my, oh, I do apologize. Technology, you guys, what can I say? So we have Brenda Williams, who is she is the Chief Executive Officer for Idaho Department of Transportation, and she has over 20 years of experience. She has over 20 years of experience leading teams in Fortune 500 companies and state governments. Under Brenda's leadership, Idaho DOT has developed and implemented innovative career paths for over 50% of workforce and provide employees with competency-based training tailored to build skills and improve organizational outcomes. She has played a key role in delivering leadership programs that expand region-wide to increase leadership capabilities at all levels in the organization. She is passionate about building results-oriented constructive culture coaching and developing employees and delivering people strategies to achieve organizational goals, objectives. Brenda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invite, and I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you here. And next we have Sarah Isa, the Capital Development Manager at Santa Barbara Airports, who is responsible for the execution and management of airport development efforts, including planning, development efforts, design, construction, and activation. She manages projects and programs necessary to deliver complex development projects related to airport master plan, facility improvement, tenant improvements, and airport improvement programs. This includes ensuring that Airport Capital Improvement Programs, CIP, and State CIP are developed in accordance with establishment guidelines and requirements. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation.
All right, and now I'll hand it over to Richard.
Thanks, Stephanie. And I think we wanted to launch our first poll. We have a few questions for our audience. The first one just being around the type of organization that best describes the agency or firm that you're with. So hopefully that's showing up on your screen.
Yeah, and if you guys can take some time to answer.
So you're in the sort of roads and highways part of the infrastructure world, water distribution or water management, or wastewater management parts of the business, transit or rail, or other. And if you're involved with more than one of those, just I guess pick the one that you do most of.
All right, so it looks like quite a few people have submitted. Are we okay if we show the results?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think that's enough time for folks to.
Yep, so let's look at the majority here from roads and bridges, and then some with water and wastewater, rail and transit. So majority of our folks come from roads and bridges.
Okay, so yeah, about half from that segment, and then quite a nice split between the others. Okay. We had another question, didn't we?
Yeah, we have one more question. So the next poll question is, which of the following best describes your role? So take a couple of minutes to answer that question. And if you're a project manager, capital planning and finance, an engineer, consultant, administration, or if you're working in another department. Take a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and again, if you don't see your exact role there, pick the one that's closest, or if it really is something else, then go ahead and pick other. Hopefully we got most of the roles right.
So I keep coming in. All right. Take a couple more seconds. So we're going to show results. Okay, we have a lot of project managers, majority, and then some in capital planning and finance, a couple of engineers, a couple of admins. Awesome.
Okay, nice. I like that we've got folks probably, a lot of folks from the construction side, but then also folks from planning and finance and sort of the design world as well. So that's great. It's great to have you all here.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks again, Stephanie, for setting this up. Welcome to everybody from my side. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to this discussion because one of the biggest challenges almost every customer of ours faces is really finding enough time and resources to execute their capital programs effectively. And, on the one hand, you've got to plan out which resources you need and allocate budget for the right team. And then you have to go off and actually find the right folks, get them onboarded and get them working as you need them to do. And then keep them happy and keep everybody working well together. So it's not an easy task, especially when, capital projects can be just very complex by their nature. So you can have dozens of internal resources spread across different departments working on a single initiative. You might have hundreds of consultants and contractors and specialty trades doing the same thing. So keeping everybody kind of rowing in the same direction and avoiding these teams working in silos is a common challenge for most public agencies that we talk to. And then on top of that, you sort of layer in these competing market forces into the equation. So, the ones lately, inflation's been a big topic lately. The price of raw materials is going up. That's impacting everybody's budget. The global pandemic that we've gone through has disrupted some of the ways we just complete our work. And then, of course, public agencies always have to live with actual competition from the private sector for resources. So there's a lot to unpack here today, and I'm very excited to dive right in with Brenda and Sarah. But we had another poll question for our audience quickly before we switch over that'll help with this discussion. And what we're asking is, since the pandemic, have you seen a change in your capital program sort of struggling with not having enough human resources? Has it been a minor change, a significant change, or really it's about the same as it was before the pandemic? We'd love your input into that question. So please go ahead and answer that for us, and we'll give you a few seconds.
And I think we can all agree that since the pandemic, we've seen a lot of just work changing in general, and it's been 3 years and we're still dealing with those issues. So we'll let the poll go for a couple more seconds. So if you don't mind taking the time to answer the poll question. I think we can go on and show the results.
Yeah. Okay.
So as expected, a significant.
I'm a little surprised actually it's that high. I thought maybe we'd get sort of 50-50 between, say, minor and significant. Great. This is great. Yeah, some of the things I mentioned just a few minutes ago are definitely sort of impacting all of this. So, yeah, that's great. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Go to the next slide. So, let's just kick it off with sort of an introduction to this topic, and I'd like to start with Brenda. So, Brenda, can you just tell us a little bit about what you do for Idaho DOT and, big picture-wise, what are some of the trends you're seeing in our transportation and infrastructure space that we're in?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. And I'd encourage everyone, too, to also weigh in on the chat on some of the things that you're seeing and trends in your area. I'm Brenda Williams. I've been with the Idaho Transportation Department for 9 years now. This is definitely one of the most challenging labor markets that I've seen in the 9 years I've been with the DOT. We're certainly seeing, everyone, I think, including contractors, really struggling with finding talent, attracting and retaining talent. It's a hot topic across the nation in all of the DOTs. Some of the, things that are happening in Idaho, we're one of the fastest growing states. We've doubled the size of our project delivery program. That has certainly created, even more challenges for us in Idaho. We are shifting some of our work over to contractors and continually to find ways that we can deliver the projects. We stay closely in contact with our contracting community to make sure that they have the capacity to deliver on the programs. We're also kind of shifting a little bit more to hiring project managers so we can keep the engineers focused on the project delivery, on the design part of project delivery. So we have kind of our own in-house project group that provides the training and are shifting more into hiring, true project managers that are managing the projects from A to Z. So that's some of the trends that I'm seeing here in Idaho. And, it continues to be just, definitely a challenging area. We have design construction a few years ago that we combined. So I think that's helping us in terms of having, design and construction working together, understanding each other's work. They actually sit in the districts, or some of the DOTs call them regions. Mm-hmm. And the project management is managed from a statewide perspective. So we're always kind of balancing the workload amongst all of our districts and to help in this effort in project delivery. I do know, the contractors are also experiencing challenges in hiring and retaining talent and are, even giving raises twice a year to some of their employees. We're certainly seeing that trend, which makes it, even more challenging for the DOT because that makes those jobs a little more, even more attractive for some of our engineering folks. So that's what I'm seeing with the trends that I'm seeing in Idaho. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brenda. I've been on the owner side of construction and engineering since about 2008. And this has been something that people have been saying, at least for as long as I've been in this part of the industry, that there's, particularly around the skilled trades and so on, that there's just not enough folks to go around. So this was before the pandemic and the economy and the inflation and everything else. So yeah, Sarah, same question to you. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at San Bernardino and, big picture, what are the trends that you're seeing?
Thank you, Richard. I'm actually in Santa Barbara, California, so a little different than San Bernardino. We're here on the coast. Very high cost of living. That's impacting our recruitment and retention overall. Housing is an issue here. many of our employees commute long distances, and they tend not to stay as long. So we've had issues with retention and recruitment over time. At the same time, we have plenty of funds coming in from the federal government and the state. So it's impacting the workers that are here that are dedicated to staying here. So we're constantly working to rebalance our workload and prioritize projects. We have 42 projects right now with a staff of 5. We do most of our in-house design and then all of our project management. And I agree with a lot of what Brenda said as well, just overall.
So so you're executing 42. Are those all new? Is it sort of different types of projects? Are some of them just small renovations, or is that all basically new construction? You've got 42 projects that you. It sounds like a lot to manage just with 5 folks.
It's a lot. A lot are in the out years. So we plan a 5-year capital improvement program. But yeah, we have several construction projects that are going on now, and then several going on next year. A lot of them are federally funded. So of course we have grant requirements, funding requirements, et cetera, that we need to abide by.
All right, great. Thank you. So I think what we want to do now is dive down into sort of hiring specifically, and then we're going to talk about retention and technology a little bit. But we have one more poll question we wanted to ask you guys, the last one. So let me flip over to that. And thinking about hiring specifically, as you know, you may not be directly involved with the hiring at your agency, but what's your perception of the biggest hiring challenge that you have? Is it more finding the right skill set for what you need? Is it just having the money to hire them? Or is there something to do with, is it really more of a timing issue, that like bringing the resources on at the right time? And so just fill that out, and we'll take a look at that.
And we'll give everyone a couple minutes to answer that question.
All right, let's give it a couple more seconds.
Looks like there's still some people trickling in, so. All right, we're going to show the results. So finding the proper skill set to meet your agency's needs.
So yeah, that one's Wayne Lead skill set background with some budget challenges as well. Okay. All right, great. Thank you, folks. So let's focus in, as I said, on hiring for a second, specifically. You know, there's a lot that you have to go through really to basically find and then go through the process to actually get these folks joining your organization. And then there's the whole question of onboarding them and getting them connected with the right teams and that kind of thing. So let me start with Sarah this time. Sarah, what are you seeing around this topic? Are you doing anything specifically to address some of these challenges around hiring?
Yes, recruitment and retention has been our biggest obstacle, especially since the pandemic. There are more jobs and fewer people, it seems. One thing we've done is a salary study internally, and our city council just increased our engineers' salaries significantly just 2 weeks ago to be more competitive with the surrounding jurisdictions. So, you know, the previous question you asked about what are our obstacles, I put budget, and it's not that we don't have money, it's just we're restricted by how much we can offer staff due to being a public agency.
Yeah. What was that process? I'm just curious, to get the council to, was that a quick, because, you know, I worry that you can't move fast enough. So by the time you sort of adjusted the salaries, you're behind again because of where inflation is or something. Were they pretty receptive to getting that through quickly, or was that a long process?
So that was done through our human resources department, and I do believe it was a long process. They did make the increases several percentage points higher than what they found in the study, so that hopefully it could stay consistent for a longer period of time.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. And what I'm just curious, like, are there specific roles that you're finding are more difficult to fill than others?
Yeah, so for us, definitely the technical roles, the higher skilled technical roles, engineers, IT, yeah, business managers, finance, they're definitely harder to find these days.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Brenda, same question to you around hiring specifically. What are the challenges and what are you doing to address some of those?
Yeah, certainly we're experiencing everything Sarah talked about here in Idaho, and also what you mentioned on skilled trades. I really believe in a grow your own philosophy in state government. And so how do you bring people in with that, some basic skills and really grow their skills into, the jobs that we need in the DOTs. Some of the things we've been doing, like other DOTs across the nation, are retention bonuses, sign-on bonuses are now something that we're starting to offer. I know we did in Idaho in what we deem our mission critical. We need to make sure that we can, plow the roads and take care of the summer maintenance that becomes more of a safety issue. So we've done a lot of work around, retention and sign-on bonuses for those particular types of jobs. The shop, the maintenance, like you mentioned on the skilled trades, they're very challenging to hire those types of skill sets. And we're really working on how do we develop more of an in-house training program or finding funds to be able to send them to the trade schools and different things to be able to grow that skill set. Mm-hmm. That's some of the things I'm seeing. Also, more than ever, you're seeing trying to grow our employer brand as being employer of choice. Social media has definitely stepped up to people DOTs doing TikTok videos. We're started day in the life videos. So if you're interested in a job, you can see what is it like to work in the DOT in that type of a role. And those videos are done by the people actually doing that work. We're going to continue to do more of those videos to try to attract and retain people or attract people, I guess, into the DOT. So all of those types of social media efforts, we're really seeing people stepping it up. We're looking at, I know one of the DOTs is doing our iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're looking at geofencing where we can target a specific demographic for what we're looking for, as well as, salary and those types of things so that we're targeting the right people. We're using those dollars to target the skills and those individuals that we're looking for. So DOTs definitely are stepping up and trying to, do more to recruit and offer these types of incentives to get people on board.
Yeah, that's really great. So you're going, you as sort of the HR department is going out with sort of a camera crew and filming people in their natural habitat, I guess, like if they might be on the, in an office or on the job site or so on. I guess to give folks an authentic kind of feel of what the day-to-day is like. Is that the idea?
Yes, that's exactly the idea. And having people in various positions, whether it's engineering, environmental, maintenance, all of those types of areas, so that we can really, market the DOT as a place to work, and that, really try to attract them into these areas, because there's a lot of benefits that the DOTs have to offer that I think are very attractive. I just think we need to do more to, market and brand ourselves as a place to work. So that's exactly the the efforts that are taking place today. And I know other DOTs across the nation are also looking at those types of things. You know, TikTok videos, people, the younger generation is watching TikTok videos. They're fun videos that people just go, oh, that's really, you know, I'm really cool what they're doing. You know, maybe I'd want to look for a job there. So there's all kinds of different efforts that I haven't seen before in the 9 years I've been here that are really happening across the nation and also in our DOT.
Yeah, that's really great. Are you see? I don't know if you can answer this, but are you? I'm just curious if you're seeing, particularly with younger folks in the younger generation, are they when they come in to sort of apply for a job? Are you seeing them come in from sources like social media rather than a traditional, you know, maybe a traditional job recruiting website or your own website? Are you seeing the benefits of that sort of outreach?
Yes, we're definitely seeing the benefits. I think the younger generation really wants us to go to them rather than them coming in and trying to find a job. So I think the more that we can go out and sell ourselves to and reach out to them directly through these social media efforts, I think we're going to be more successful, because it does seem like the trend is for the younger generation to have the jobs be presented to them rather than us, trying to just hope that they come in through our different marketing efforts. So I really believe we've got to do a lot more outreach and actually sending targeted emails, doing geofencing where, you're targeting an audience that there are jobs pop up, as soon as they're walking into a particular building. I mean, all of those kinds of things where they're seeing the jobs coming to them rather than us trying to go out and search them. I think all of these efforts are going to be really important to attracting talent.
Yeah, I really like that. It sounds like there's almost a bit of a shift in mindset going on there, that you really do need to market, as you said, do a good job of marketing the benefits of working for a public agency like yourselves. That's great. Well, thanks, Brenda and Sarah. Let's move on and talk about the sort of other side of the coin here. So the other part of the similar discussion is just, once you've gone through all of that effort to hire the right person and get them onboarded, how do you retain them? How do you make sure they stay with you for a long time? The graphic you can see on the screen was some of the ideas that came out of a global survey from Deloitte about the future of the workforce and what folks are doing to as we go through this sort of transformation. So Brenda, let's start with you this time. How much of a challenge has retention been for Idaho DOT, and are you doing anything specific on that side to address it?
Yeah, we definitely are experiencing this year more challenges with retaining talent than we've seen in past years. But ITD started back in about January of 14, really, in the 14, and then launching our first horizontal career path in January of 2015. But we really started this effort in building a constructive culture, a culture where there's teamwork, people are working together, cross-functional teams, where they're learning from each other in solving problems. So we really started this effort a while ago in kind of building this foundation to where we're at today. They mentioned earlier, we have over 50% of our employees that have very defined career paths. So when a maintenance employee is hired on at the DOT, they know exactly what they need to do to get the training and the skills and the metrics that they need to meet in order to get an increase and move up to the next step. And that's also in our maintenance foreman area, the maintenance supervisors, our engineering construction techs, and also our engineering group. So these have definitely helped us to attract and retain people and also build skills. And then the culture work that we've done in just really emphasizing the employee experience and that we care about our employees has really gone a long way in showing that we really want to push decision-making closest to the lowest levels. We want them to innovate. We have a really great innovation program where we have innovation stewards that are embedded in each one of the districts and sections of our DOT. And that's really important to continue to have them come up with new and innovative ways that they can do, that they can find to help, make their jobs more efficient and effective. And then we share it across the state and really celebrate those best of the best innovations. So there's a lot of work that we've done in this area to really try to have ITD be seen as, the employer of choice here in Idaho, as well as, across the nation. So I think that work started a long time ago. We continue to find ways that we can build and grow our innovation program and look at, more career development and how can we continue to build skills so that employees are feeling challenged, they have a purpose. All of that work, we do pulse surveys. We just started that so we can gauge the pulse of what employees like about working at the DOT and what are some things that we can improve upon. So I think all of those efforts have really set us up in a good place today in where we're at. But we continue to have challenges like everyone else and continuing to find ways that we can, make the workplace a better place that, and really listen to our employees and care about their feedback and take action. And I think all of those efforts have really helped us.
Yeah, I like that it's, there's a lot of things like this, right? There's no sort of silver bullet. It's a bunch of different stuff that you have to do and have to work on. But that innovation program sounds really interesting. I hate to put you on the spot, but do you have an example of something that came out of that innovation program that was then implemented across the state? I'm just curious what kind of ideas are coming out from it.
Yeah, definitely. And the executive team just recently traveled across the state, and we encourage employees to share those innovations. And then they're just excited. When you go out there, they're excited to share what they're doing. We regularly celebrate those, and we have these regular report outs where they're sharing it across the state. And we're encouraging people to see if they can take that same idea and implement that in their particular area. One that comes to mind is a mechanic in one of our shops in one of our districts just loves innovation. He loves to make ideas happen. And one of his ideas actually was picked up by a company, but it's regulating the salt that goes into onto the roads. And he was able to get that innovation. It's something that we now a company now has implemented that innovation. And those types of things like that are happening across the state. We've got somebody in Bridge that is worked on a database on staffing resources. So we're sharing that across the state. All of these kinds of efforts have really made a huge difference, and we really celebrate the successes that the employees are coming up with and we call it the Times 7 program because we have 6 districts in our headquarters, and really try to share that information out to the larger audience through different mediums with our SharePoint site and through regular just report outs that we do virtually. So it's really exciting program. And again, those innovation stewards, they meet regularly every month, and we really try to embed those into the organization so they continue to help them, with the idea and helping them, get resources to implement the idea.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like that. Folks in the audience, I am seeing your questions come in as you're asking them. Please keep them coming, and we should have some time at the end of the presentation to go through that with Brenda and Sarah. So Sarah, switching back to Santa Barbara, what are you seeing on the retention side? How much of a problem is it, and are you doing anything specific to address it?
Yes, so the city has a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative that we've rolled out, and I do think it has helped. We are polling our employees to see how we can help people feel safe and respected in the workplace. We've also put an emphasis on flexibility and work-life balance more so than ever. I see a question about how do you encourage social interaction when so many people now want to work from home. We're in the office about 80 to 100% here. So that said, we do place an emphasis on flexibility and work-life balance. So we prioritize people spending time with their family and taking time when they need it. And I feel like that balance between being in the office and then also encouraging flexibility has worked out pretty well for us here at the airport. And then also recognition. We place an emphasis on recognition, employee of the month, team of the quarter, and then we hand out, we call them SWIFT awards when anybody has done a really good job just above and beyond. We do hand out an award immediately, and it's accompanied by a gift card. So all of those things together, we've done a pretty good job of retaining employees here at the airport recently.
Great. Actually, let me. So you said you're mostly back in the office now. Is that different depending on the role, or is it like regardless of role, everybody's in the office pretty much 80% of the time?
Right now, it's regardless of role. So we find that we work better together and in person. So it's understood when you're hired here, you're going to be in the office for the most part. We do have things come up where people need to be in the field, but even the engineers that are here at computers all day, every day, we find a synergy when we meet together and solve problems in person.
Yeah, Origo is going through the same discussion as a tech company. Like everybody else, we were kind of, just scrambling a little bit in 2020 to figure out what it all meant. And we're still, coming up with a comprehensive policy long term. We have some roles that are remote and will continue to be remote, and others that we want to pull back into the office. So interesting. Brenda, can I kick that back to you as well? What's your current sort of remote or work from home policy? Is everything back in the office like it was before the pandemic, or has anything changed?
We're approaching it with a hybrid model. So we have our employees back in the office 3 days a week, and then they can pick the 2 days, as long as that works for their supervisor, that they can work from home if their job allows for that. So we're kind of in this pilot phase. We're still trying to figure out what that looks like long term. That we'll review that again in early summer to see if that's something we want to continue long term, or maybe even offer more work from home. But at this time, we're primarily in the office as well.
Okay, interesting. All right. Thank you, panelists. Let's move on to our sort of, our final talking point, which was specifically around technology and work-life balance and automation. Another study that Deloitte conducted, so the graphic you're seeing, kind of proposed this idea that public agencies should take a two-pronged approach to automation. One was sort of at the tactical level by sort of zooming in on a specific pain point or problem that you have, like, I don't know, like paying your contractors on time or approving budget changes, whatever it is. But then also from a sort of executive leadership approach, zooming out and looking at the big picture and thinking about more strategic things you might want to do, such as restructuring the organization, breaking down data silos, those kind of things. So, Sarah, I think we'll start with you. What are you seeing in Santa Barbara around this topic of technology and automation?
That's a very good question. So we're working on getting a fully integrated system for all of our departments to manage projects and capital. Right now, they're very disparate and kind of clunky. So we're scoping that out at the department level with our IT department to create a unified platform for the entire city. And I think it's going to be a very good investment and something I hope that we all will use, and it's very much needed. So we're right there at that crux.
Yeah, that, of course, that's one of the things we hear a lot about, and just trying to. One of the I'll just an aside very quickly. One of the best things I ever heard from a customer was when they said, we no longer sort of argue about what the data is or what the data really even means. We can start arguing immediately about what to do about it. and that makes it like a lot easier. And I think a lot of agencies spend time just reconciling the data to get the sort of the true picture. So yeah, that it totally makes sense to me. Brenda, what about in Idaho, automation technology? What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, some of the things that we're doing is definitely doing more digital modeling to help accelerate project delivery. We're seeing more use of that than we ever have, as well as just more utilization of GIS. One of just the simple things that come to my mind is we just implemented e-signatures. So we've improved that process to award a contract by 30 to 40 days just by simply doing e-signatures. So these are some of the efforts that come to my mind around, how technology is really, really helping us.
We're seeing a lot of, I think we're approaching the 50-50 point, I think, with e-signatures, that it's the adoption of it is accelerating, at least amongst our clients, definitely. I think if we were sitting here a couple of years from now, it may even be the norm. There may be more, even large, multi-million-dollar construction contracts and things like that are moving towards digital signatures from what I've seen. I think in a few years' time, it's going to be more the norm than the other way around. But I think we've got a way to go. Well, thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Sarah. That was a great discussion. Let's hand back to Stephanie. Stephanie, maybe we can go through the audience questions and take a look at some of those.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions coming in, a lot of it. So one question came in: what initiatives or strategies are you finding successful? And I just asked him a question. Because I believe it's what initiatives are you finding successful in terms of hiring and also in terms of employee retention. So if any of you ladies want to take over that would be great.
Brenda, do you want to take that one? Go ahead.
Sure. I'll go ahead and just talk again about some of the things we're doing. It's not like mentioned any one silver bullet, but we have found that, retention and sign-on bonuses are helping. So we'll continue to watch whether we'll continue that trend or not. So I do think that's a strategy that's helping. I definitely think social media is the way to go, and we'll continue to watch if the stepping up our social media effort is going to, improve the ROI that we see, or there'll be an ROI on that, but I definitely believe that we've got to go out and actively find people. And we also need to make sure we reduce the red tape. We're not going to be able to have a lengthy hiring process or lengthy application process. So we really have to look at our hiring processes and reduce the amount of time it takes for people to apply for a job. If you're not going after these candidates that do apply, within 2 or 3 weeks, you'll lose them. So it's really important that you look at your processes in your areas and see, is there a way that you can speed things up in terms of, from your application process to your interview process to whatever process you have in place, is really trying to reduce that. And we actively monitor that process and really help to try to encourage the interview and selection process to go through. When we do find, strong candidates, we don't want to lose them. So I think all of these efforts, and employer branding, all of these things are really going to be efforts that I think are going to pay off. And everybody's starting to see, the benefits. I've heard nationally the benefits of even just through Facebook advertising for specific jobs and those types of things. But everyone's finding success in social media. So I think we were going to have to really step up those efforts.
Thanks. And then kind of asking on that question, someone's wondering what those retention bonuses look like. They don't know if you can share that information or not.
Yes, I'm happy to share. It was one of the longest or the largest pay that we've done in the history. Not only did we do pay increases, but retention and sign-on bonuses, and they were $5,000. for our retention bonuses. Our sign-on bonuses were $1,500. And so we definitely are seeing some where we're, struggling to fill some of those positions. We're definitely seeing those efforts that are working. And it was a 1-year retention. It's really important that we don't shut down our roads and we keep our trucks moving and keeping our roads clear of snow and ice. So that was really an important effort. As we saw some of the surrounding states were talking about shutting down their roads, and ITD did not want to, get in that situation where we might have to shut down our roads. So those efforts definitely have helped.
If I may add, Brenda, thank you. The city here, we issued a pandemic pay, a one-time pandemic pay. The City Council decided to use some of the money from the CARES Act to pay back our employees who kept the water systems running and the streets paved and working during the pandemic. That was very helpful. That was $2,000, a one-time payment, approximately, depending on how long you were here during the pandemic. And also they added an employee appreciation day, so it was an 8-hour leave bank to everybody's paycheck. So that was very well received. It's not necessarily a retention bonus, but it was an appreciation award.
Yeah. I think just reading on a lot of articles, we're noticing that employee appreciation and work culture obviously pays a big difference. So it's nice hearing that DOTs are promoting that and using social media to work on those efforts. Now, back on social media, everyone's wondering, where can we find these day in the life videos that Idaho is doing?
We would definitely be happy to share day in the life videos with you. I can send out one of the examples of that, and possibly other DOTs too that I know are doing this effort, but definitely we can make sure you have a link.
Awesome, thanks. And I think we are done with questions. So thanks everybody for joining. We hope you found this beneficial. And once again, the webinar is recorded, so you will be getting an email at the end of the presentation. And I also saw a lot of people from New York. So if you're in Infraday, New York in a couple of weeks, definitely come and say hi to us. But other than that, we'll let you guys go and have a great rest of the day. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.